Hello everyone, in this video I want to talk about an upcoming game called Cyberpunk. This is a game by CD Projekt Red, which is, as you know, as many of you know, is the company behind The Witcher 3. And of course with that comes very high expectations to this upcoming role-playing video game from the same developer. Now this game is planned to be released on September 17th, 2020 for both Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4, Stadia, and Xbox One. And it's an open world game that takes place in a dystopian night city, an open world with 6 distinct regions. And it's a big city which you can explore, and you can imagine a gameplay that is kind of similar in a way to GTA, where you have a really big, in this case, a big city to explore, and it plays in a first-person perspective. Now, as you go, you're going to acquire skills in hacking, machinery, and decisions that you make will also affect the story itself. Now, the thing is that I love open world games and I love RPG games, but I have to admit that lately I find myself playing more multiplayer games than single player games. That being said, I actually read that Cyberpunk 2077 is getting multiplayer after launch. But still, we are lacking information about it, but you know, it's exciting to hear there's some kind of component, multiplayer component to it. Now, that's aside, some of the, the core general information about the game. What I'm excited the most about is actually be immersed with this cyberpunk futuristic world. Now, I have to admit there are many games that have different settings, and usually when I decided not to play them is because I don't find myself kind of getting excited in being immersed in this certain particular world. But in this case, I'm actually very excited. I think this is also a great opportunity to really get crazy with the creative stuff, because you're not bound to anything. For example, you're not bound to any specific time in history, and when you do something futuristic, especially cyberpunk, you can really get crazy with the design of the game. And we can already see, you see here the trailer, that it looks really amazing, just amazing. This includes the outfit, the characters, the design of the city itself, just beautiful. And I also read information about it and seen other gameplay footage, and just seeing, the city populated with so much detail. This includes many people that just go around doing their thing. It's a very, very detailed environment. So it's just really a great place that you want to just jump into and become a part of that world. In fact, part of it remind me actually some of the areas in Tokyo, for example, or in Osaka, where you have lots of neon signs. You get this kind of unique, really cool nightlife vibe, which I really like. I remember actually it reminds me some one night when I was in Tokyo. I think it was in Shibuya area, but I'm not 100% sure. Where it was like, the subway train was just passing by, and the lights and the big building with all the neon signs, and it's just such a beautiful sight. And I remember being there and just standing and just watching this, and I said, wow, this is just so beautiful. Of course I took some photos and videos, but anyway, this is the kind of scene that I imagine they want to be in again. Also really like, Blade Runner, and I like the atmosphere there, and this is why I want to play a game where actually kind of you get this futuristic and something unfamiliar vibe in the city. You get into a city which really you don't know what to expect, and so many things are actually happening that can a bit confuse you, but in some way it's actually very exciting. Now if you look at the gameplay, you can see there are so many details in the design of this game, and it's going to be a huge city. And one part of the open world games that I enjoy doing is actually exploration, so discovering new things. And I don't like it to be very linear, because I feel in some way that I just jump into a story and just follow the pages step by step. I don't want it to be like that. I want to have more freedom in exploration and actually affecting the outcome of the story. So from what I've read with Keanu Reeves' interview with GameSpot, that it's going to be a dynamic story, so you can actually, your decision can actually affect the gameplay. and there are going to be like NPCs that might react if you decide to take certain actions. So this is something that, you know, I don't know if I'm gonna like play a second walkthrough and whether they designed the game, you know, to be different when you play the second time. But again, it just makes the playthrough itself much more interesting and exciting and dynamic. Now Keanu Reeves is going to act as one of the characters in the game which you will be interacting with, which is cool, of course. But as we know from The Witcher 3, we're going to see some really cool characters in this game. And the voice acting, the animation are probably going to be great as they were in The Witcher, even more. And the thing is that CD Projekt Red have much more freedom to express themselves creatively in this type of game. And this is why I think it's a very, very good choice to create kind of a cyberpunk world and just get crazy with it. Now I also heard that you can get into buildings and stuff, although you won't be able to get into any building. I really enjoy when you play games which you can actually explore different places. And this is like I do in real life, you know, when I get, for example, last year I was in Japan for 7 months. And one of the great things that I enjoy is actually the subculture. The things that I enjoyed the most was actually the beautiful pagodas and Japanese garden, but just getting into different buildings and really discovering all these little stores and those unique games and the manga books, and actually finding people who play card games, you know, in these little holes in buildings. This part was very exciting for me. So for example, if in this game I can maybe find like a secret room somewhere in a building, and this is going to be like a game. I'm sure this is going to be a card game here. I mean, those developers are probably going to create another cool card game. You know, something, discover a new card game and kind of play and have fun. You know, this kind of stuff. Now, aside from that, of course, I love first-person shooters. So this is very exciting that you have the options to equip different abilities, of course, use weapons. And this is something I'm looking forward to. Now, I just hope that in terms of animation and gameplay mechanics of the character are going to be more exciting than just a standard shooter. I mean, I just don't want to just shoot, you know, kind of crouch. You know, I want to have more options, maybe some interactions with the environment, so the gameplay will feel more exciting, unique and fresh. Now the other thing is that always when I play this kind of game, I always ask myself how the company is going to maintain the game alive. Because I always think that as you progress through these RPG games again to an end game, I want the end game to be something interesting, maybe something with a higher replay value. I mean, after you finish, for example, you know, like Destiny, after you finish the campaign, you get to a point where you can actually do other things like playing different multiplayer games, do raids, you know, something like that. So I wonder if this game will have this kind of an end game where it will give the game a higher replay value, and you can actually come to the game every day and continue doing things, you know, like maybe, you know, same as Destiny, like multiplayer game, maybe some raids together, some events that will take place that you need to group up with other people to do them, something like that. I'm not asking for something really, because Destiny is of course based as an MMO about multiplayer. I'm not asking this game to be like this, but you know, have some kind of an interesting end game where replay value, where there's something exciting, you know there's something exciting waiting for you at the end, and when you finish the game, at some point, the campaign is not over. You have something extra. Now if you've seen some gameplay videos, you can see that even in the character creation screen, you can already choose your past, and this will affect the story. Now in this game you can actually choose also your past, which will have some effect on the gameplay experience. There are different options. There are advanced character customization options, so you can kind of customize your avatar the way you want it to look. And because it's a fully fledged RPG, there are of course other properties like intelligence, reflexes, technical, and things that you can improve, and this of course will affect the gameplay. And kind of similar to Destiny, you also have the option to discover clothing items, which also change your different abilities, which is cool, and you have different weapon slots, I think 3 of them, which you can equip, and this actually, that screen in the game looks very similar to Destiny. But just keep in mind there are no classes here. So what you're going to do is actually mix and match different abilities in order for those to match your favorite playstyle. Now this game also kind of borrows some of the elements from Watch Dogs relating to hacking and ability to control different machinery and different computer networks. Now this game also borrows some elements from Watch Dogs, the hacking, so you can control different machinery and computer networks, which is nice. I personally wasn't excited about Watch Dogs, so but it's just a feature in this game, so it's nice to have this one. But you have plenty of other things that you can do, of course. So if you've seen the gameplay, you can see that you have the option to hack into cameras, and you can even increase the difficulty level of a training bot, so you can create kind of a distraction. So well, it looks really cool, but we'll wait and see. There are also gangs in this game, yeah, and you can actually decide if you want to take their side or take another side, with other opposing teams, and of course this will have an effect on the story and the gameplay. So what can I say? Overall, I'm hyped for this game because it has many elements that I was looking for in an open world game, especially one with this type of theme, which I really like. And of course it comes from CD Projekt Red, so I definitely expect this game to be top notch. Anyway, I bought a new PC a few months ago, actually for work, but it has powerful graphic cards, so actually I'm looking forward to a game that can really take advantage of this power, and I think Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be the game that's really going to take my gaming experience to the next level, so I can't wait to play it. So if you haven't know about this game, now you know, and if you like RPG games, open world games, and if you like the cyberpunk setting, you probably should check this game out. So this is it. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you like this video. More videos coming. Stay tuned. I see you in the next video. Bye bye. Cheers.